Today is a very special day in the lives of my parents, Dr. William and Marilyn Stevenson, as they celebrate their 40th wedding anniversary. The story of how my parents met and served as missionaries in the Philippine Islands for almost 20 years is a story of their faithfulness and commitment to each other and to God. They were two people willing to say, "I will," before I do. My mom, Marilyn, heard the gospel at a young age and was saved. In college, she met and married David Tirrell, a young pastor. After a missions trip to Haiti, my dad felt the Lord might be calling them to serve as missionaries. But God had other plans. Several weeks later, my father died suddenly after a brief illness. Widowed at age 28 with 4 children, ages 10 months to 7 years, Mom continued to trust God to take care of her and her children. In a little town called Haddon Heights, New Jersey, God was also showing His faithfulness to Dr. Bill Stevenson. Saved as a boy, he had dedicated his life to the Lord, attended medical school, and married. Bill and his wife Jenny had also talked about the possibility of going into medical missions. Again, God had other plans. After a long battle with cancer, Jenny went home to be with the Lord. Left with 6 children, ages 7 to 20, Bill leaned on God's promises while he continued his medical practice and raised his family. At Haddon Heights Baptist Church, Bill had heard that the Association of Baptists for World Evangelism had a medical mission clinic in the Philippine Islands. He believed God was saying go, even though it meant going alone. While speaking at our church, Bill was introduced to my mom. 6 months later, he called her for a date. After their one and only date, Bill left for the Philippine Islands to join a team in medical missions, taking his 3 youngest children with him. A year passed. One day, a letter sent from the Philippines arrived in our mailbox. Through correspondence, a friendship and a romance began. In 1969, while still in the Philippines, Bill proposed via airmail. After meeting him just twice, Mom trusted God's plan, and we left to begin a new life in the Philippines. My parents were married outside the mission clinic on October 24, 1970. With 7 children as attendants, the couple who had said, "I will, God," said, "I do." Our parents rejoiced in God's goodness that brought them together. Just 4 months after they were married, Dad suddenly became ill. It was urgent that he get to a city hospital immediately. Not knowing what God was doing in their lives, my parents flew to Manila. The doctors there found an infection in Dad's brain which required brain surgery. God provided a U.S.-trained neurosurgeon, a miracle in a third world country in 1971. After several months of therapy, Dad was able to return to the clinic to practice medicine. Mom encouraged patients as they waited to be treated, taught Sunday school classes, Bible studies, and discipled new believers. In 1975, Dad pioneered a new medical work on the island of Leyte. A new clinic, now a hospital, was built, as was a church. A few years later, Dad felt called to the capital of Leyte, Tacloban, to start a youth center. Here, university students came to play ping pong and board games and just hang out. Relationships were built, which led to Bible services in my parents' home. Eventually, a church was established, which just celebrated their 25th anniversary. And from that church, over 20 branch works have started, with many sending their own missionaries to other Asian countries. When I asked my dad why he would start a youth ministry while in his late 50s, he answered, "Well, someone needed to do it." Age, health issues, the challenges of a blended family, learning a new language, and other obstacles did not stop my parents from doing what God asked. Their commitment to one another and to God has been an example to each of us. Through prayer and perseverance, my parents kept their focus on obeying God, continuing to trust Him to do the work He had started when He brought them together. This church was faithful as well. Haddon Heights Baptist Church was the sending church that partnered in this ministry. Though none of us may ever meet the Filipino believers, their lives have been forever changed because of your help. You showed acts of kindness and love and faithfully prayed for us. Today, there are churches holding services in the Philippines that began because of the work my parents did, and because you were the church standing behind that work.